I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're back to another review, and this is another Patreon review, this time for Chris Rogers. For those interested, you can request any review, re-review, topic, reaction, pretty much any type of video. You just send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Chris Rogers wanted me to talk about 2 episodes of the TV show The Equalizer. Now, The Equalizer, I had heard of the TV show, but I had never seen it. It was a TV show that debuted on CBS in the 80s, around 1985. It's about four seasons, from 85 to 89, and it started an actor named Edward Woodward. Now, Edward Woodward, he's probably most famous for starring in the original The Wicker Man. But he got to be the star here as Robert McCall, who works with the company, some unnamed American intelligence agency. Something goes wrong with a hostage situation where the hostage is safe, but he was ready to talk the guy down, but some other guy killed him, and he gets pissed, and he gets so pissed he almost kills the other agent, but then he walks away, and he's like, I'm done with this. So then he starts putting in the paper, you got a problem, odds against you, call the Equalizer. And anybody who calls that number or needs help, he will help. And the show is kind of a mix of spy, a little bit of vigilante, a mix of those two. Based on the 2 episodes I've seen, it's not an action-packed show. It's not going to be a Madam P.I., or it's not going to be an A-Team. It's not going to be, like I said, an action-packed television show. It's more about investigation, getting his contacts, utilizing them to find out what's going on, him using his brain a bit more. Now, of course, the first time I heard about The Equalizer was the Denzel Washington films, which I wasn't really a big fan of either one of those films. They have good moments, Denzel did a good job, but I don't know, they felt like they were too long, and it just felt unremarkable to me a lot of the times. Plus, it didn't help that the trailers pretty much gave everything away for both of those movies. They're not the worst films ever, they just weren't my cup of tea. And then watching the show, it's kind of hard to see how the movie was like the show. I mean, yeah, the name Robert McCall, it just seemed it was maybe loosely based on the show, because the characters seem very different. Like Edward Woodward, I would say he's the best part of it, because I enjoyed his performance. I enjoyed his sort of how gung-ho he is to help these people, how gung-ho he is. Which I guess, to be fair, that happened in the Denzel Washington films too, but Edward Woodward just had that, I almost want to say, intensity of wanting to sincerely help people and want to sincerely, again, to be fair, you saw it in the Denzel Washington films as well. I don't know, just something about, like, thinking back on those movies and thinking back on the show, I don't see a huge connection between the two. But I don't know, maybe I needed to watch more of the show to confirm that. But the two episodes Chris wanted me to watch was the pilot episode and then an episode in season 2 called High Performance. And in the first episode, it establishes what's going on, that he's fed up with the agency, he wants to go out on his own. And William Zabka, who was in the original Karate Kid, he's on that show Cobra Kai, he was in Back to School, he's in a lot of other stuff. He plays the lead character's son. Far as I understand, he was only in like a dozen episodes or so. And he doesn't have much to do. He pretty much just appears at the very near the beginning, at the very end. And during this episode, he's pretty much dealing with two problems. One is this guy who knows too much, which then leads, he's a computer guy, and that leads to a senator being blackmailed. Meanwhile, you have this woman who's being constantly stalked by this guy. And I guess maybe they did that because I'm not sure if that happened a lot in the show where there was two concurrent things going on, two stories going on at the same time. Maybe because they knew with the blackmail senator story there wasn't enough meat there, so, or maybe to differentiate that he's going to try to do both things. He's open to doing a higher level job, like dealing with the senator and blackmail, but he'll also help the common folk, like this lady being stalked. And again, I can't really say there's anything action-wise that blew me away. But like I said, Edward Woodward was really good. You know, when Robert Lansing, who I remember from this horror film called The Nest, he was also in this film from the 70s called Empire of the Ants. He plays a guy that works with the agency going, oh, you're too much of a security risk. And Edward Woodward goes, oh yeah, then take your best shot. Or when he runs down this stalker and pretty much corners him in this phone booth and really does threaten him, you know, leave the lady alone. I thought that was a good scene acting wise. Another thing of interest is the score, because the theme and then some of the music is done by Stuart Copeland, who I remember from doing music from The First Power, Lou Diamond Phillips, among others. It's definitely a bit of a unique score, and that's why I had to mention it didn't feel like a typical score for an action show, a spy show. There's just a little bit of uniqueness, but I'm not sure how to word it. And that made it a bit more interesting. That wasn't your typical musical score. Plus, Stuart Copeland is a talented musician. And then the other episode, High Performance from season 2, it deals with a female construction worker who, while on the job, she sees a murder. They bring this thing where the lead guy is afraid of heights, but then they don't really utilize it with the plot. I guess when they brought that in, I thought it was going to be, there's a point where he's going to have to face his fears and go up somewhere high to defeat the bad guy. That's not really the case. Now maybe that's a good thing they didn't do that, because it would have been more cliche. But I don't know, it's just that when they brought that up, I thought, oh, okay, that's going to lead to something pertinent. Not really. It just leads to him and the lead girl, who has also gotten this phobia because of what happened to her. They decide to try to overcome their fears by having dinner on this skyscraper that's currently being built. Which was an interesting way to end it. So okay, I guess they put that in just more of a character thing. Which I don't know if that ever came back that he was afraid of heights or if he fought it this one time. I don't know. Of interest of the show is the two of the villains is James Remar and Michael Wincott. James Remar, who was the bad guy in 48 Hours, and he was in the he was in the Warriors. Rotate that baseball bat, turn you to a popsicle. He was good in this. Also, Michael Wincott, who I remember is the bad guy in Metro. He was in Alien Resurrection. He's been in other stuff. So it was cool to see those two guys in there. And like I said, it's not tremendous of an action show. It's more of an investigation show with a little bit of him being a vigilante where he'll kill when he needs to, but that's not his. If he can avoid it, he will. So like it's more of an investigation where they're looking through, like, she saw across the way this murder. He and this other guy look in this apartment. They find this button behind the bathroom mirror, and that leads to where this button came from. Or maybe it's part of this dead body who has these buttons, that kind of thing. And Edward Woodward, because he doesn't work with the cops, because he works for himself, he'll at times lie to the bad guys and be like, hey, I found this button, James Remar. How about this? You give me $500,000. Okay, goes for a meeting, finds out he's been fucked over, catches his ass. So like I said, I don't know if this is a show I would really seek out to watch on my own, because I guess I would prefer more of an exciting, a little bit more of an action-packed show. Not to say every show needs to be action-packed, but like with a Man in PI, although I like Edward Woodward, Tom Selleck has a more energetic personality. The A-Team, definitely more of, you could say, a dumbed-down action show. Even CSI Miami with some of the stuff David Caruso goes through, there's some crazy action bits throughout that show. Maybe that's the case here too, but it was interesting to watch because I had seen the Denzel Washington movies, and it was cool to see some recognizable people like James Remar, Billy Zabka, William Zabka, Michael Wincott. Apparently at one point on the trivia they said that they wanted one time to do a crossover with this and Man in PI, which the makers of this said no, because they felt that the two shows had very different tones. But I think it could have worked out. That would have been interesting. But yeah, Edward Woodward is definitely the best part of the show, even just based on just these two episodes, because like I said, he brought his sophistication, a British sophistication, but at the same time you really felt his heartfelt care for the people he wanted to help, and the people, and like the moment High Performance in season 2 when she's wants to leave and he's like, no, you can't leave, we can do this, and yeah, trust me, and we can make this work, and I can help you. It didn't seem like Edward Woodward was phoning it in, not in the slightest. And I can see why people would rewatch the show and follow the show for him and him specifically. Which a lot of times that's all it takes with a show, is that if you get a lead actor that you really enjoy or you really like, or you can really buy into their character, where they know what they're doing, they're using, in this case, using a bit more of his smarts, then you can follow the show for however long it takes. And it was for 4 years. I kind of do wonder, like, what made it canceled. I don't know if it says here what ultimately made it canceled. I'd like to say it was on CBS. Apparently throughout the show, Oh yeah, Stephen Williams. I saw him in the pilot. He was in, I guess, 5 episodes. Stephen Williams, I remember as X on the X-Files. Also as Duke in Jason Goes to Hell. He plays a cop in the first season. Apparently there's a lot of guest stars. Apparently Macaulay Culkin was in one episode as a kidnap victim. Kevin Spacey plays a corrupt police officer. Kevin Spacey corrupt, go figure. Ed O'Neill was in an episode. John Goodman and Joe Morton were in an episode together, as well as Steve Buscemi. Vincent D'Onofrio, Adam Ant, Lori Petty, J.T. Walsh, Sam Rockwell, Jerry O'Connell, Frank Whaley, Sam Rockwell, Jerry O'Connell appeared in the same episode as members of a teen robbery gang. Interesting. Apparently Robert Mitchum, Telly Savalas, Michael Moriarty, Michael Rooker, Charles S. Dutton. Apparently a lot of familiar people appeared throughout the 4 years. I guess with credits it had mixed reviews. One critic says the plot's confusing and the show's as erratic as a pacemaker on low batteries. I didn't think it was confusing. I mean, oh, this is interesting with the DVD. Many fans have noted that the Region 1 version DVD has had several of the original used songs replaced. In actual fact, nearly 50% of all music apart from the theme and scored by Stuart Copeland has been replaced by covers due to expired music licensing agreements, and the cost which would be incurred in the U.S. to have the licensing it renewed, they just figures too much. Oh, they're doing a November 2019, CBS announced a reboot with Queen Latifah as Robin McCall. January 2020, CBS issued a pilot order for the new version. The series was among the 14 pilots ordered by CBS, fast-tracked to series, unable to film their pilots because of what's going on now. In May, CBS picked up the series, and they added Chris Noth as William Bishop, a quirky ex-CIA director who is the opposite of Latifah. So Queen Latifah was the star of an Equalizer. Queen Latifah? Really? Queen Latifah. Fucking Queen Latifah. So you go from Edward Woodward, that while he's not doing a ton of action, he has that intensity and that sincere quality, and you can at least buy him as a James Bond type of like character, which maybe that's not the best way to describe him, but still. And then Denzel was more of a physical showing in his movies. Queen Latifah, Queen motherfucking Latifah. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck. I love to hear what big time fans. I think Wildman Beyond, that's a guy on here who's always been nice to me. He's a fan of the show. I wonder what they think about Queen Latifah and a reboot of The Equalizer. I like the opening of it too, The Equalizer, where it showcases various places of the city and criminals getting ready to do their evilness. That's a nice atmosphere to set up for the show. So overall, I would say based on these 2 episodes, I didn't mind it. I don't know if I would seek out more. But if I had all the time in the world, I'd give it a chance perhaps for to see what are the recognizable people, because that's the fun part of watching old shows is, oh wow, that guy's in this, and oh, this episode, that guy's in it. I recognize that person. You know, like I said, that's the fun part of it. And like I said, Edward Woodward, he's easily the best part of it. He's easily the best part of it. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.